Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. Hit that like button, the share button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and turn on that little, when you subscribe, press the bell notification button next to it so you never miss a live stream again. But we all know YouTube notification system is pretty whack. So the link in our description below to sign up to our Discord server. It is the best chat room in the world for YouTube content, for social media football content. It really is, and you guys make it. The Football Terrace community make it amazing. So go and sign up to that now. There are chat rooms for all of the top 6 clubs plus Arsenal. So Leicester's involved. There's transfer talks, meme pages, all sorts of nonsense there. Morning to all of you. Eye test in the house. I see Mo's here. I see Abs is in the comments section. Who else we got here today? We've got Mustafa. We've got Dake. We've got Dyke, sorry. Who else we got? Who else we got here? We've got Man Like Just Jokes. Morning all. I hope you're well. I hope you're all doing good. We're here to talk a bit of Chelsea. We're here to talk a little bit of Raheem Sterling as well. Jack Grealish to Manchester City is another rumour starting to circulate. But we're going to start with the Chelsea news. The Chelsea news is a real interesting one for me because we know the number one target this summer for Chelsea Football Club is Haaland. We know this categorically. Chelsea want him hugely. Thomas Tuchel wants him. Roman Abramovich is dead set on bringing him to the football club. There is no doubt about it. But there is stiff competition across Europe. Haaland's representatives, Mino Raiola and his father, of course, did a European tour a few weeks ago, offering him to all and sundry. Mino Raiola has made a claim this morning that Real Madrid, who are keen on him, can afford him. And it has long been said that Haaland is more likely to go to Spain than England if the money was there and available. So the reports coming out today via AS and, of course, Fabrizio Romano is that Real Madrid can afford him. Real Madrid can pay the £150 million fee plus the enormous wages that he is demanding, north of £500,000 a week. The question I've got for Chelsea fans today is, one, with Mino Raiola confirming Real Madrid can do it, is it a case of feeling like you're going to lose out? Or do you look at it from the other end of the spectrum? Is this just more negotiating and posturing to get the Chelseas and the Manchester Cities to put their money where their mouth is and put a formal offer in? We're only 3 to 4 weeks away from the end of the season. The transfer news is going to skyrocket very, very soon. There is no doubt about it. You will see stories in abundance. The agents are now really getting down to work and they're really earning their money and they're going out there and doing their sales. I'm going to read you here what was said this morning. So it says, Erling Haaland's agent, the notorious outspoken Mino Raiola, has made a potentially significant claim involving Real Madrid and the Borussia Dortmund goal machine. Haaland to Real Madrid is a scenario which makes the most sense according to multiple reports and the feeling from the Haaland camp. With the rising forward, having the world at his feet, why would he not want to join the biggest club on the planet? That's what this article says. However, it was unclear whether Real Madrid had the necessary funds to sign him, especially considering the adverse impact of the pandemic on their finances. But this doesn't appear to be the case. Perez attempts to force through the Super League didn't materialize. However, according to the agent of Erling Haaland, the money is still going to be available, and Real Madrid have made it abundantly clear that they can afford to pay the player. There are claims that Haaland will be looking to secure wages from £500,000 to £1 million a week, which would work out up to £52 million a year as a contract, or £260 million over a 5-year deal. And as we've spoken about on many occasions, the Haaland deal, two things to remember here. Net spend doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Spending 100 million, 150 million up front on a player seldom happens. It will be paid in installments over the length of the contract. But if it's 150 million plus 260 million in wages, plus agent fees, plus bonuses, you are looking at an investment of over 400 million pounds over a 5-year period. That is how much Haaland is going to potentially cost a team. It'll be anywhere from 300 to 400 million pound, depending upon what his salaries are. Real Madrid have stated to Mino Raiola that they can afford it. This does appear to be a big blow to Chelsea. What I do find interesting is on the same morning, there's an article I found here on Football 365 that actually says that Tuchel won't be angry if Chelsea miss out on Haaland, as they've already done a lot of reconnaissance and a lot of work and a lot of research on other alternatives. And we spoke about this on the terrace from a fan perspective a few weeks back. That's why the Lukaku deals, the Aguero deals, the Martinez deals, and those types of conversations have been ongoing. The Harry Kane potential is Chelsea are not a stupid football club. They are not going to put all their eggs into one singular basket and then panic and throw their toys out their pram if it doesn't quite go the way they want it to. But I want your thoughts and feelings this morning, Chelsea fans, on this news. Make sure that like button is being hit as well right now. Don't forget to do that. Young says with the super chat, let Haaland go to Madrid. We Chelsea can get Benzema. We just saw firsthand how good he is. And that's a fair point. There are alternatives to Haaland. And remember, it could cost you £400 million over a 5-year period. Is Haaland worth £400 million? Because that's the actual price that it's going to cost you. Plus, how much more money are your current stars at Chelsea going to want when Haaland comes in on that much dough? It's going to be very expensive. I actually seeing it being once everybody else gets their wages increased due to performances and expectations and bit of jealousy. Hang on a minute. I'm only on 80 grand a week and I'm a star here and he's on 500, 600, 700,000. Boom. I see this costing Chelsea somewhere in the region of 500 to 600 million pounds in its entirety. And it's whether or not Chelsea think that level of investment is worth it. Someone here says United paid Sanchez 350. Yeah, they did. I don't really understand what that's got to do with anything, though, Alex. This is not what we're talking about. We're not saying Chelsea would be mad to do it. We're saying it's a blow this morning to Chelsea's pursuit if Real Madrid can afford to pay it. Because if one team steps up and says, we will pay what Haaland wants, it makes it hard for everybody else. Man United paying Alexis Sanchez $350 a week. Alex, I have to tell you this, my friend, is probably the most irrelevant comment you have ever made. And you make a lot of irrelevant comments here, bro. Nice try, though. Nice try. Keep going. Keep going. The fake creator says, how many titles does it buy? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Does it buy titles? Does it give Chelsea what they want and need? Or are you better off taking that 150 mil and signing Declan Rice and Martinez? Are you better off going for Harry Kane, Premier League proven at the peak of his powers? Would that be a better choice? Benzema plus Danny Ings, we're sorted. Well, there we go. Benzema plus Danny Ings is what this Chelsea fan thinks here. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you feel. In other news, Raheem Sterling. Now, this is from the Give Me Sport website. So they've said this morning on here that Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola is prepared to sell Raheem Sterling, according to the Football Insider. So the report suggests that Guardiola is willing to let the England international leave this summer in order to help fund signings, namely Aston Villa captain Jack Grealish and potentially Haaland. They do mention Haaland in this as well. They go on to say that indeed the Spaniard isn't believed. Sorry, it says here, indeed the Spaniard isn't believed to view Sterling as integral to his current plans at the Etihad and would be willing to sell him should an offer come in of around £80 million. And what I find interesting about this news, I don't think it's any reflection on Sterling. Ability, performances, behavior, attitude, any of the kind of tags that are generally labeled to a player a manager wants to sell. I think this is very much to do with you need to refresh your front line. Look what has happened at Liverpool Football Club by those four players staying together for 3 or 4 plus years. You go stale. You need some reinvention. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. You need reinvention. You absolutely need reinvention when it comes to these scenarios and these situations, and that's what he's looking to do. Move Sterling on, bring in Jack Grealish, new fresh blood to keep us pushing forward. We know that Raheem Sterling's 26, but his contract expires in the summer of 2023. So also you've got to strike while the iron is hot. Although Man City have an abundance of money due to who their owners are, it's still important that they balance the books. You can't just spend money, money hand over fist. You need to be sensible with it. There's no doubt. But the question I've got for you is, does that improve Manchester City's team? Jack Grealish in, Raheem Sterling out. And where does Raheem Sterling go? Who do you think is prepared to spend circa £80 million on Raheem Sterling? Is he worth that amount of money? We know a year or so ago, a number of clubs are looking at him. He's now kind of viewed as being slightly not overrated or past it. That would be a ridiculous statement to make. But he hasn't had as potent a season. Can City raise 80 odd million pounds for him? I do want your views. I do want your opinions on that. Lang and Sweet here says it's just paper talk. Sterling will sign a new deal. And maybe he will. But let me ask you this. This is fan content here. So let's talk about the hypothetical surrounding these situations. That's what we are as fans, right? We love a hypothetical. Jack Grealish in, Raheem Sterling out. Does that improve your Manchester City team? I think you'll find there are many that would say it does. You need a replacement for Aguero, and maybe Pep Guardiola said, I want to have a real shake-up in the summer. I want a new Aguero. So whether that's Harry Kane, whether that's Haaland, whether it's Andre Silva, whether it's Martinez. But what I also want to do is rejuvenate my inside forwards. And I'm looking at Jack Grealish as this superstar who could tear it up for us and give us a new dimension to our game. Maybe that's his thinking. Would you make the swap? Lang and Sweet and all the other City fans tuning in, or rival fans, would you make that, not swap as in literally a swap deal, but sell Sterling and replace him with Jack Grealish? Does that represent good business? That's what I want to know from you all this morning. Make sure like buttons are being hit, sharing this on your social media platforms as well if you are participating with social media over the course of this weekend. We have put a link to the Manchester City article in the description below, so get yourselves across to that right about now, ladies and gentlemen. There is some more breaking news from around the Haaland deal as well. Mino Raiola has confirmed two teams actually. He says names two clubs will find it hard to say no. That Haaland will find it hard to say no to. He's hinted that Manchester City are the Premier League team most likely to sign Haaland, and Real Madrid being the second team. It's really interesting to sort of read that, because we know what I find. This is just breaking right now. This news coming out. What I find massively interesting about this statement from Mino Raiola is we know that it's Chelsea that are pushing the hardest, but haven't made a formal offer. Yet every time Mino Raiola speaks, he talks about other teams. Is that a ploy to make Roman dig deep in them pockets and say, we want him, here's the money, let's go? Remember what the man said to Dortmund just a few days ago. If you don't sell him this summer, we'll give him to Bayern Munich next year. Like, he is forcing this move through, no doubt. Nama here says, I hope Messi comes to the Premier League in the summer. Messi in the Premier League is just one of them deals it just doesn't feel like it could ever happen. I don't know why. A bit like R9 or Kaká or Ronaldinho. There are certain players I just don't look at as being not that they're not good enough to be Premier League players before someone says, oh my God, Terry's such a Prem merchant. I just don't see them as Premier League players. Would they do a good job here? Of course they would. Lang and Sweet is back with us as well. Selling Sterling is the worst thing City can do. That's a big claim. That's a gargantuan claim. Why do you think that? Let us know right about now. A comment here from Davish says it's blackmail, trying to tempt Roman. I wouldn't call it blackmail. I would just say I'd say smart business. Smart business. This is what Mino Raiola is good at. There's no doubt at all. Hang on a minute. Someone here said, "What about Pogba's?" Like, I haven't looked on Twitter because I decided to take a break from it this weekend. A few people did ask me actually. They said, "Well, how comes you are boycotting or halting social media but still doing YouTube?" I don't have the luxury of not doing YouTube. YouTube is my job now. It's what I get paid to do, and I can't afford. I have a mortgage to pay and kids to feed. I can't afford to take 3 days away from work unpaid. I just can't afford to do that. So I have to do this. You know, it's football clubs are not striking from playing football or giving up 3 days' wages or 3 days' income or donating. You know, they're giving up social media, which is a small part of what they do. So that's the reason why. But I haven't been on Twitter to see this here. Oh, Raiola on Pogba's future. The most important thing now is to know that Man United wants what the project is they're proposing. He's interested in one thing, winning the Champions League and titles. We are going to see where this is possible, if at United or other clubs. That's what Raiola has just said about Paul Pogba's future. That is just out now. That is just out now. I'm going to put that in the comment section so you guys can read what he's just said. That is from Fabrizio Romano. And that's right. That's exactly the attitude I want from Paul Pogba. I don't want Pogba signing on at Man United for money. I don't want him signing on for sentiment. I want him to only stay here if he sees the possibility of winning Champions Leagues and titles. That is big, big news. And maybe he does. And if Paul Pogba thinks that Ollie's team can do that, who are we to deny it? Who are we to deny it? That's an interesting take. I want your thoughts on that right now. Paul Pogba to stay at Man United, maybe. Someone said Paul Pogba's tweet. Is Paul Pogba actually tweeted? I don't know if he has. No, he ain't. Maybe you're talking about from Fabrizio. Is that what you meant? Is that what you meant? Rather than Paul Pogba's tweet. Is there more I'm going to look at here? Okay. Is there? What's he said here? Yeah, that's what he said. Wow, that's literally just come out. That Mino Raiola spoke about Paul Pogba. That's big. Could be happening, Man United fans. Could be happening. I've got KJ that's coming on in a few moments. I'm going to share the link for you to call in on our Discord server. And I'm going to put it into the transfer. Where is the transfer talk page? I've lost it. Oh, sometimes it does this, right? Sometimes on Discord, you can be in a group and then you go out of the group and then the group disappears for a second. I don't understand it. I'm too old. Where's it gone now? Is it back? Right. So no, it's going to be in the... I'm going to put it in the newsroom. It's going to be in the newsroom section. So go across the Discord, find the newsroom section, and call in. Come on. Let's have a little bubble this morning. Let's have a little chit chat. Let's have a little hello, how are you? And let's go through things. But I've got a man like KJ here, first of all, who's probably going to want to talk about man like Paul Pogba news right now. First of all, what are you saying, bro?
Yo, what's up, man? What's up? It's a nice day. Things are good. I packed Team of the Season Rashford on FIFA. Happy days, my brother. All right, we'll look to see it.
That's good. We had some pleasant news this morning as well, which we won't go into live on the air. So, yeah, it's a bright start to the day.
Yeah, it's very mad. Also, people, two things. EA are pagans. Don't let them suck you in. You know what I'm saying? Don't spend no money on that game besides buying it. And then two, don't forget these pagans as well. I know there's a social media blackout. I know there's things going on. Football games are back and that. But let's not stop. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Trinity Square, fam. We are there protesting against these pagans. Right, now into the news. First of all, Paul Pogba. This is what we all knew. We already knew this about PP. He ain't a mercenary. He ain't this guy that people think that they try and make out him to be. He just wants to win trophies, and big trophies at that. He wants the Champions League. He wants the Premier League. He wants the league title. That's all he wants. So this news from Raiola does not surprise me. If Man United said, we are signing Sancho, Rice, Varane in the summer, and then the year after that, we're going to go after this player, that player, Paul Pogba would stay. But after this summer, you could understand why he was questioning, should I stay? Should I go? You know what I mean? Because that summer was atrocious. He's been sold so many dreams by this club. And when I say club, I mean the board members and those owners, those pagans. He's been sold so many dreams that I do not condemn him for questioning should he stay or should he go. So Paul Pogba, we know what he wants. As a club, show him the ambition and he will stay. Simple as. In terms of Jack Grealish to Man City, are you telling me if you wouldn't swap Sterling for Grealish? I would. I personally would. Yes, Grealish isn't as fast as Sterling, but he's got more tech. I feel he's better composed. He'll probably score more one-on-ones than Raheem Sterling does. Pep has been renowned for this reshaping Sterling into this goal-scoring winger. You're telling me with Jack Grealish, you wouldn't be in those positions either, getting those tap-ins, but also getting assists. Right now, Raheem Sterling, he's done amazing things at Manchester City. He has. No one taking that away from me. He's an amazing player on his day. But I feel like it's time to sell when the iron's hot. Fergie did the thing of knowing when right time to sell someone, no matter what position they're in the team, and then bringing someone new to elevate the club. I think Jack Grealish can do that.
Mate, I could not agree with you on the Jack Grealish thing, like 110%. I agree with you. I think you're absolutely spot on. I really rate Raheem Sterling. I think City fans have got to look beyond the end of we love Raheem. It's knowing when to refresh your front line. It's knowing when to sacrifice a star player. Man United stopped doing that generally at the end of Sir Alex's reign because of Glazer-nomics. So, with all due respect to Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs, that were still winning Premier Leagues in their final year at 38 and 40 years old, respectively, they shouldn't have even been in our team then. We should have put them out to pasture 3 or 4 years earlier and had signed superstars. We should have signed Verratti as a long-term replacement for Paul Scholes, as an example. We should have been able to give Paul Pogba the deal that he wanted and have kept him at the football club. We should have signed Aguero before Manchester City did. There are players out there that Man United missed out on because we weren't prepared to dig deep in our pockets. And Man City will do that. Now, they'll recoup money. Now, when Man City are in a beneficial position now compared to maybe 5+ years ago, is that they've been delivering now consistently. They have players that are worth a lot of money. And when they're worth a lot of money, you don't need to dig as deep in your pockets in terms of income versus expenditure, because you can sell an asset for money and then you reinvest that into a player. So the income increases as the spend goes out. We say weren't always in a position to do Manchester City. It was always spend, and recoup very little in the other direction. I think it represents good business on the pitch, good business in the ball, good business in the from a bookkeeping point of view. But even more importantly, it gives some new energy to that attacking line. Raheem Sterling also, I think, will benefit from a move away from Manchester City and going to a team where he can feel fresh and rejuvenated and really, prove himself. So I think overall, it would be very, very good business for both. There is no doubt about that.
You know how much I love Jack Grealish, obviously a fellow Brummy lad and that. And I would love him at Manchester United, but it looks like that won't be possible in the next couple of years, maybe after that. But Jack Grealish probably won't be at Villa at that point. But I would do anything for him just not to go to Arsenal, because I cannot feel it down getting gassed over signing Jack Grealish for his club, man. So yeah, man, I wish Jack Grealish would stay and wait for Man United, but I don't think that is unfair to ask of him anyway. So yeah, if he goes to City, I understand he's got the ability. If he goes to anywhere else in the top 4 besides Leicester, I would understand. But from what I'm hearing from my sources in Brum, what I'm hearing from a lot of Villa fans is that Jack Grealish is going to stay this summer. The club has a lot of plans to build around him again, to go again in the summer to again advance them further. They still have a chance of getting Europa Conference League football. So if they get that, is that something where Jack Grealish can say, you know what? I've still got what he's going to be 25, 26. I've still got years left until my prime. I don't have to get Champions football right away. Let me do something with my boyhood club, see what happens, and then and then move on. So it's not a nailed-on thing that Jack Grealish will leave. Like some Arsenal fans like to believe that he's definitely leaving this summer. He's not.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's an interesting one, no doubt, with Jack Grealish, because he may want to stay, but it's whether he actually is able to is the big question. Centurions here says, I would take Grealish. I see Raheem Sterling excelling in a United team more than at City. Our style of play suits Grealish. Yeah, I mean, Sterling isn't going to go to Man. They're not going to sell him to Manchester United again. But if we
imagine that Liverpool, Man City, then Man United. Oh my lord, that would be treacherous.
He would be. It's an interest. If he did that and killed it at United, he'd be loved even more for it. However, he'd be the most hated player in England on a football. Take all other things out. I'm talking football level. It'd be like there'd be no return for that. Like he'd have no love anyway. He wouldn't do that. I don't see it happening. We're gonna go to some more calls here. First up on the show today, we're gonna get Liam on. Liam, welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'd take Sterling back at Liverpool, even though after what he's done, he's clearly got talent, and but obviously that wouldn't happen because of how he left. But if Man City get Grealish next season, then you might as well just.
Why don't you think it could happen?
I think there's a lot of bad feeling there.
But okay,
as an outsider looking in, I grew up with this story, and I was always confused about why Raheem got so much hate for stuff he didn't even do. Some of the stories that came out at that time was clearly false and clearly fabricated to make him look worse. And they made him out to be something that is not. So from the outside looking in, I don't see why. I personally don't understand the Liverpool angle of the hatred towards Raheem Sterling. I don't know what he did personally, but it seemed like it was more of a media tarnish than it was actually Raheem Sterling being a bad person.
Yeah, a lot of it was to do with his agent. His agent was a lot of the problem.
Yeah, again, I still feel like I go back to think, and look, Jamie Carragher's made a lot of mistakes, but he's also come out and apologized for a lot of things that he's done. And I always respect someone that can do that publicly. I do believe, and I'd need to go and watch it again, but even he kind of said that the way he tarnished Raheem Sterling in that move away, he was wrong. And I think that I actually agreed with what Raheem Sterling did at the time, because I didn't feel like Liverpool were ever going to win anything major. It just felt like that at the time. And a lot of Liverpool fans used to say the same thing, that we're not going to win anything, right? So I understood why he went. And Raheem Sterling, barring you have won the Champions League, but City have been more successful since he left. Like Raheem Sterling's decision was always looked at as money. And it was for two reasons. One, because people were disrespecting City, never thinking City could achieve what they've done in recent years under Pep. And at the same time, it was, it's a mercenary club. You're just going for the money. But Raheem Sterling went there because he got sold the dream and the project. And Man City, for all the things they get criticised for, they just want to be the best football team in the world.
And to be fair to Sterling as well, he's won stuff at City. So
exactly.
It was the right decision.
And let's not forget, and he's been one of the main focal points of that team as well. It's not like he went there to be on the bench to get money and then he won a Premier League with 10 appearances. No, he has been one of the highest goal scorers. He's been one of the key players. And when he's done at Man City, I don't care what any person says, he will be a Manchester City legend when he leaves.
As for Grealish, if he goes to Man City, then you might as well just give him the title.
Come on, listen. We had that debate last night on the preview show. I don't necessarily agree that it's just a foregone conclusion that next season City win the league without any real challenge.
Oh, no, I think Liverpool will be back. I think like if we get the right recruitment this summer and we get some of our players back, then there's no reason why we can't challenge next season.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting really, because we've had Tom on yesterday, said that Liverpool still have a title-winning squad. And then we had Sonny on in the evening, who was basically like, we are nowhere near it. It's never going to happen. So literally in the space of a couple of days, I've been given such a contrasting view of the Liverpool spectrum from Liverpool fans. It's unbelievable. But I think you should all be a lot more confident than.
The thing is, you don't go from like winning a title to having a dead season to then being a dead club. Like,
no, you don't, and that's it. You're not like you just. It's,
well, unless you're Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But with Arsenal's, it's still that case of it's just been Arsenal's has just been a steady decline.
Slow death.
Yeah, a death by what's that expression? A death by 1,000 cuts. Like that's what they are. There's no doubt. Listen, Liam, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on. Make sure you phone in again, mate. Very good.
Definitely. Have a good
made
day.
Today. Hit that like and share button, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we've got Gooner Express here. What are you saying, Gooner Express?
Yeah, on the Grealish thing, I think I see a lot of people saying the swap deal for Sterling for Grealish, like the straight swap. I don't see that happening. Sterling, yeah. I've seen it on Twitter. Some people talking about it. I think it's just a bunch of this conspiracy theory type thing. Like he's not going to Aston Villa. If he's going to go anywhere,
if someone says that, you just say, just give them the big shot treatment and say your Villa don't have the facilities for that big man. They don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's never happening, man. But I think his ideal location for me will be Man United. I think he could fit in with United perfectly. The only issue there is he'd probably be the most hated player in England. To leave Liverpool and City to go to United, that'd be mad. But I don't see him going United. But I think that would be his perfect location in terms of the play style, how he could fit in, obviously the way that he could probably get a few more goals, etc. But from a City point of view, I would get rid of Sterling for Grealish easily. Because I'm pretty sure Grealish has more assists, the same amount of goals this season at Aston Villa. If he has a Haaland or a Felix, if they're able to get one of those two, the amount of assists this guy could get will be mad. And they wouldn't automatically win the league because we've seen it with City. If they get one or two injuries defensively, they crumble. But they'd definitely be the favourites alongside Chelsea and Man United for next season if they can get Grealish and a good striker.
Yeah, it makes sense because he plays the inside forward role really, really well, but he does it differently in terms of he's a creative winger, not a goal-scoring winger. And I think at times you see that Man City need that creative winger at times because Sterling will cut in and try and score. Mahrez is not a decent balance, but I feel like recently he's been more trying to score than he just tried to assist. Ever since he's been at Man City, actually, that kind of balance has changed. And then the backup wingers, who they got, like Bernardo Silva, he's more of a creative player. I'm just trying to think. They've got so many players, but Jack Grealish would be able to fit in, and I feel like maybe that's Sterling out because a lot of Man City fans are saying, "Don't start Sterling in the big games."
Yeah, exactly.
What does that say? You know what I mean? What does that say about Sterling right now for Manchester City? So I feel like bringing in Grealish for Sterling freshens up the squad, make people be on their toes, and it's a real statement of intent from Man City to be like, "Yo, look, we don't live on sentiment. We don't live on, oh, he's done well for us, but he's going on the decline, but we'll keep him anyway." They'll be like, "No, if you don't keep up your levels, you will be gone, and we replace you with someone who can achieve those levels and go further." So it's a win-win for Man City, really. It's not like Raheem Sterling's a bad player.
It is, and these things need to happen. You just look at Liverpool's front line; it's gone stale. It's like stale, old, mouldy bread. But they're still talented football players. So you need to make these changes, Manchester City. Gooner Express, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Super Chat here says, Lukaku has unfinished business in the Prem. I would love Tuchel to manage him. And he could do well. Let Lukaku stay in Italy. His business, not ours. The contrast in opinions. We love that here at the Football Terrace. Please make sure you've hit that like button and you've subscribed. And you've signed up to the Discord server. We're going to do some more calls now. We've got man like Pav here with us this morning. Pav, welcome back. What do you make of the breaking Paul Pogba news?
I kind of find it weird that every time this guy is playing so good, that Mino Raiola always comes out and just has to talk about him. Like, why can't he just let the guy play it? I know it's nothing bad that he's saying. It's just the fact he comes out every time and has to open his big mouth. I mean, I want the guy to stay. Like, watching him this season, this is probably the best season he's ever had at United, and it's going to be hard to replace the guy if he goes. From what I've seen him playing midfielder and how I've seen him play on the wing, we don't. I was saying a few weeks back that we need to get someone to challenge Rashford. We've got him. We've got Pogba. Like, the guy looks like he's enjoying playing in that position on the left wing, right wing, and we need to give him that contract. I don't care what you're paying him, 350, 400k a week. We paid Sanchez. How much did we pay Sanchez? And the guy was doing nothing. Like, we need Ed Woodward, before you leave, you need to do one last thing and get this guy a contract. We're handing out contracts to other people. Yeah, I've not heard anything from the club about negotiations of a new contract with Paul Pogba.
Yeah, you know why though? It's because Raiola's saying, nah, bro. Like, the club wants to keep him. That's no doubt. But it's about Pogba's camp being, we're ready to talk. Right now, they're not ready to talk, and they haven't been ready to talk for some time because of the way the club's run. But I agree with you. Him on that left-hand side is so much better because he's freer. He's not a traditional winger on that side, and that's perfectly fine because that then gives Luke Shaw the license to do what he does best, which is overlap and put them balls in. And we've seen the best of Luke Shaw this season.
Have you seen how he just dances past people? Like, I've not seen someone of that stature, his build, just move past people. Like, man's like Neo or something. Just, oh my God, I can't believe like how he just dances past people like it's nothing, man. It's so good to watch lately. Like, he's one of the best midfielders going on this planet at the minute.
And the thing with Paul Pogba is, Pav, you're right, but he always has been. He always has been. And we said it yesterday. Again, I wish KJ was there for this. Like, this is no shots. Like, Daniel's regular part of the terrace now is a great guy. But we're saying how as a rival, he doesn't really care if Pogba stays, hasn't really hit his potential. He's replaceable for Man United. And I just sit there and think, I just think he was so wrong. And it wasn't a debate last night, so there's no point going into it. But I watched the show back a bit last night, because I always watch shows back for an improvement point of view. And I just listened to it again, and I thought, the people don't realize how good he is. And the reason that he hasn't been as consistent as we would all like is based on what Raiola has said this morning. And I agree with Raiola. Pogba needs to be in a team that's very, very good. And some players, like Steven Gerrard, are suited to being in lesser teams. Do you know the one thing we never saw with Steven Gerrard? We never saw Steven Gerrard consistently in a brilliant team surrounded by class players, how he stood out. Well, actually, we did.
And we saw him in the England team. Did
he do for England what he did for Liverpool when he wasn't the star guy? We don't know. Now, Pogba's a little different. Maybe Pogba needs that star quality around him to be the best player that he can be. And the point is, we don't know that answer for a lot of players. Some, like Lionel Messi, we've only ever really seen him in very good teams, right? So we know. By the way, I think Lionel Messi can do it anywhere and everywhere that he goes, but you never quite have the answers. I'm intrigued to see what Pogba looks like in a very good Manchester United team. Same as the Grealish conversation we've had. I want to see Grealish in an elite level team to really see how good he is. Because at the moment, we know he's good. But until you play for a City, a Liverpool, a Madrid, and you're competing at the highest end of the spectrum, you never really know how good or bad somebody is. You actually can't know how good or bad somebody is.
Yeah, like, we're probably 3 players away from actually challenging for a title. Like, we're talking about Pogba now, but if we get Sancho, we get a DM, and we get a centre back, there's no excuses why our squad cannot go toe to toe for that title next year, and even probably, like, say, reach the semis of a Champions League. That's what I expect to see next season if we get those 3 signings. And if we don't, then I don't know. Like, I'll have no words to say about it. Like, I don't know what the club's doing, but yeah, next season we're second now. We need to be going for that title next year. There's no excuses why this club can't get Solskjaer 3 players. And on Solskjaer, quickly before I go, I think where the club is now, like, a few weeks back, I caved in and I tweeted Ollie out. I went mad after that Leicester game in the FA Cup. But I think we need to give this guy a contract. What he's doing with the squad, there's a good atmosphere within the team and in the club and the players. And I think, like, changing, I know a lot of people don't want him there, but changing the manager, I think it might just put us a step or 2 back. But yeah, I'm obviously Glazer's out, but I'm looking forward to, like, where this team's going to move next season.
On your point there about the situation with Ollie, what I would say is this to anyone that's Ollie out. If Paul Pogba decides to stay because he believes his team can achieve those trophies, that has to resonate with fans. It has to. Paul Pogba is looked at, especially as most Ollie outers, most have a deep affinity, connection, and love and respect for Pogba. Most of them tweet and say things along the lines of, I want Pogba to leave because we're dragging him backwards. Paul Pogba to come out, if he signs, and says, this club is the best place for me, this manager is the best manager for me, that has to resonate, surely, KJ.
Yeah, like you have to think about. Oh wait, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You have to think about the way you feel about Ollie. Like, yes, I understand you may not feel like he tactically is the best, and he may not win us the big trophies. I know if we win the Europa League, the goalpost will move to, well, it's only Europa League. You can't win the Premier or Champions League. So you may not think he can win those, but in terms of calling him a fraud at management, that he's fake and no top player would want to play for him, you literally have to say, I got that wrong. Because if Paul Pogba, one of the best players in your opinion in the world, is willing to stay while he's manager and he's a big reason why he's staying, then that statement, you have to change that statement. And it's going to be difficult for Ollie outers, I believe, to be able to do that. Because if the guy breathes, they would be upset because he didn't breathe in the way that they want him to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you're taking in too much oxygen. Think about everyone else. That's what they would say. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, if Paul Pogba stays and Ollie's a big part of that, Ollie outers, you have to at least say well done to Ollie and give him his props for attracting a big player to stay at Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be the bare minimum that you would expect. My view is I don't think that will happen, to be honest, but it's what should happen. Super Chat here says, I'm an Arsenal fan. I feel the only way to get the rats out is hurt them in their pocket big time. Every home game, take the pitch, sit down, get abandoned. Oh, walk to the pitch and get abandoned. I mean, that would resonate massive. Imagine that, just pitch invasion every single game.
I remember I've said this before. If you want to go extreme, every home game, storm the pitch, bro. Let them go home with 3 points until they're gone. Because
I hear you on that. I hear you. Pav, great call, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers,
having your top man. Next up, we've got a Chelsea fan here. Abs is with us. Big news this morning about Haaland. Real Madrid maybe having the money for him. What's your thoughts on that, Abs?
So first and foremost, you said earlier something about Sterling and Grealish getting moved on, right? So obviously, I just want to try and remind everyone that this is what big clubs do. Like, if you look at what Manchester United used to do in the 90s, for example, when you had Kanchelskis and Steve Bruce and Eric Cantona, once Kanchelskis, had fulfilled his potential, he got moved on, and there was outrage. People were vexed that he was moved on. United fans were vexed that he moved on. 10 years later, same thing happened with Ruud van Nistelrooy. So all this talk about all this talk about City fans being potentially wound up that Sterling's going to get binned for someone like Jack Grealish, who, by the way, is one of the last few pure ballers we have in this division. Him, Pogba, KDB, and I don't know, there's a handful left of like pure ballers left in world football, forget just the Prem. Are you trying to tell me that Jack Grealish is not going to do a better job than Raheem Sterling? Because Sterling, for me, is just one of them ballers who's like mad efficient. He's not got as much tech as Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish could turn a game like this. And that's where I think people need to start, putting things in perspective in terms of what they're getting, and they're realizing that, moving on from Sterling, despite the fact that Sterling's done well, I mean, he was called the the Yardy Damien Duff when he first went to Man City. But since then, he's just shown that he's, still a Don, and he's, he has balled out for Man City, and he has won big trophies, and he'll still go down as a legend. However, at some point, all good things come to an end, and now it's time to go on and get the bigger and better assets in world football.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting that. That was flipping funny. I've never heard that in my life.
the Yardy Damien. Yeah, listen, I agree with you. I actually think from Man City's point of view, it represents tremendous business, and it's not a swap as in a. I think where people are getting the swap thing from is one in, one out. There would never be a direction. Sterling isn't going to Villa. Like he's never. Maybe when he's 35, like and he if he fancies one final payday or whatever, but he's not going to Villa. But I think Grealish would kill it there. That hurts me as a Manchester United fan though, because I wanted Jack Grealish. However, if Paul Pogba stays and that left-hand side becomes his area, he's better than Jack Grealish at it. It's different, but better. And I will be less bothered. Does that make sense? It's the if we lost Pogba and we replace him with I don't know.
Jack is the only one you should.
Yeah,
exactly.
But what I mean, if we lose Paul Pogba and we replace him with someone who's bang average, we replace him with another Scott McTominay. And then, then I'm annoyed if Jack Grealish goes City because we've lost something brilliant and they've gained something. Some super chats here. Malik says, Chelsea to give a guard of honor next week at Man City. Oh, yeah. I think
hopefully.
Wait. I think they have to. I'm sure they have to win this game and the Chelsea game.
Yeah, but we have to lose. So we don't want that to happen.
Oh, so if we lose today and they win today, they win.
Yeah, so we got to win tomorrow. No, I don't want Jack Grealish. He's no different to Bernardo Silva. Is what
I want to say something controversial. He's better than Bernardo Silva.
That's not controversial. That's a fact.
Listen, Lang and Sweet, man like KJ just said, he is better than Bernardo Silva. I want your thoughts and feelings on that. Listen, Abs, thanks for calling in, young man. Appreciate that, buddy. You look after yourself. Take care, bro. Next up on the show, long-time viewer at the Terrace, Bison is with us. What are you saying, Bison?
Hello.
Okay, Bison is not there, so we're
my
gonna.
son, you know what I'm saying?
My son. Don't know why that made me laugh so much. Mohammed with a super chat. I didn't say anything, but thank you very, very much indeed. What's going on here? Strip Bear, have you been back one day and you're arguing with people? Come on, Strip Bear. Like I said the other day, no arguing.
Has she got the spanner back?
We spoke, and I said, cool. I said, no arguing with people. My mods are not here to argue. My mods are here to moderate bigotry. If you're arguing, you're not modding. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally your role that I need you to do for me. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones. Especially like when people get blocked.
Please leave them alone.
Strip Bear, let me just say this, Strip Bear. It's not about you. You're free to argue who you want, but if you want to be a mod at the Terrace, there's an air of professionalism that we need to have that comes with it. That's what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? I keep people messaging me saying I got blocked the other day because I disagreed with something Strip Bear said. I'm like, what? You can't be blocked for that. Come on, Strip Bear. Please, I beg you. I beg you. Hey, Terry, Tottenham are poo. Fair enough for that. Do you know what made me laugh in the last few days, Cage, when it comes to the Tottenham thing? Is like, I'm seeing these arguments about, was it Jose? Was it the ball? And you sort of sit there and you're like,
listen, tinfoil hats, man. Tinfoil hats.
I've followed so many of the debates and arguments, right? And it's like, Jose Mourinho was a big part of the reason why the atmosphere has become bad, why you weren't winning games, why things are falling up in the short term. But the way your club has been run is the reason that you're not winning trophies, ambition, money, whatnot. The fact they went from Poch. They fell out with Poch, which wasn't good. But they went from a Poch team with his system and style to that decision is worse than anything Jose did.
Mm-hmm.
Jose shouldn't be defended because the board are bad, not for his tactics or his management, but it's his behaviors, it's his attitude, it's his toxicity. That needs to be criticized in isolation. Then you look at your board. I get so confused by these football fans that are it's all on one person. Now, I've always said it, the Glazers are the biggest problem at Manchester United. It doesn't excuse Jose's behavior here. It doesn't excuse Ollie if he doesn't make a sub until the 85th minute when we're losing 1-0. But in terms of where you sit as a football club and the fact you ain't won a trophy since some of you guys weren't even shaving, that's on your board. I don't really get the debate. It's like
it's very much. You know what it is? Yeah, it's like Jose's gone. You wanted him gone. He's now gone. You got what you wanted in that regard. do you have to now forgive him for everything that you did at your club? No, because I don't. But now that he's gone, you've cut that part of the toxic nature out of your club. Now go after the main thing. Why are you going back to him? That's what I don't get. The guy is now out of your life. These men have got Stockholm syndrome. They want him back so they can complain some more. You know what I'm saying? Like let it go in terms of, as in like, he's no longer there. You can argue with people that say he wasn't an issue. Argue with them. But now that he is gone, go after your board. It's not his fault that people don't want to sign for your club.
Yeah, exactly. It's looking at the bigger picture in terms of, look, do I think a better manager could have got more out of that Spurs squad? Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, the board are still the problem. Depending on what you want. I think what happens with Spurs fans, and they don't want to admit this, the Alexes of the world, the Eleanors of the world, and I'm talking about them because they come on our shows, I don't think they really care or mind if they win trophies or not. I think pretty football, a burger and a beer on match day, and they're happy.
No, I will defend Anna a little bit here. She has stated many times of her ambition to win trophies. And that's one of the reasons why she didn't want Jose. But again, that was just a minor fueling towards her hatred for Jose.
I still think they're happy. I still think Eleanor and Alex are Spurs fans, and the millions others I've met like them. That's a bit of hyperbole there, but I'm just saying they're like that. My dad's always a bit like that. Oh, I'd love to win the league, but do you really want? This is how I look at Spurs fans. A lot of Spurs fans that are like the Jose haters is. They want to have a six-pack and loads of muscles, but they don't want to stop eating lots of ice cream, chocolate, and then going to the gym. They want it, but they don't really want it enough to actually do anything about it. You know what I mean? Where I look at the people going at Enoch, they truly would do anything to win trophies, and they want it more. You know, they're the people that are eating like just a little bit. They're eating like steamed vegetables and fish and the egg whites every day, right? They're not drinking fruit juice, just water. They're living like a monk to get that six-pack. So when they go on holiday, they look good. That's those guys. I think like Alex and Elle and everybody else, I think they're just sort of like, I'd love to look like that, but I ain't really got the dedication to get it from afar. And I see that's where the arguments are, but it's just funny watching Spurs fans argue over it. I literally been on Twitter the last few days looking at, not getting involved, just watching from afar. And I'm like, this is funny, man. I don't really get what the issue is, but maybe it's because it's outside looking in. We've got Safe coming on now with us. Safe, what are you here to say today?
Hey, Teddy, what's up, man? I tried to come in a few days ago, but you don't share the link.
I always share the link. If other people are calling in, then the link's been shared.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, I want to talk about Man United. Great win the other day. I was happy. 6-2 win. Hopefully, we can win the cup, the Champions League Cup, whatever you call it, European Cup.
Europa League.
Europa League, yeah. And I'm happy that POGBA is staying, but we still need some players. So I wouldn't sign Sancho. I'd rather sign Haaland. Do you agree with me?
No.
Why?
Cavani's staying.
Yep.
Secondly, you watch my shows every day, so you know the answer to this. Why are you asking me to explain something that you already know?
Because Sancho is a good player. Yes, he's a creative player, but how many goals does he score? He isn't a scorer.
I'm sorry. You do know he's one of the highest scoring wingers in the world.
Yes, but
right
that's
now.
in Germany. Germany is a shit league. It's not compared to the Premier League.
But wait! You want Haaland, who plays in the same league?
Yes, but Haaland is more creative player. He scores more goals. He drops one.
So we don't need more goal scorers. We need more creators at Man United. Safe. Wow.
Exactly, but Haaland is a better player than Sancho. That's fact.
He's a different player. We need a right. You understand? We need a right inside forward who's creative more than we need a striker. Plus Cavani staying. But your argument, by the way, Safe, doesn't stack up. You're saying that Haaland's more creative and a better player, but he's doing it in the same league that you've just called shit.
Yes, but because Haaland is doing the Champions League.
What?
He's scoring goals in European Cups in Champions League.
And
Sancho's been doing the same.
Sancho's been doing that in the Champions League as well.
Okay, but show me the stats between Sancho and Haaland in the
What creativity?
creativity.
I'll show you. I will get the stats up for creativity. I'll do that right now. We'll get that up here while we're talking.
Man wants to compare striker to a
Yeah, I mean, we can do that because I know already we're winning. Like, this is the point. So Sancho, we'll do career stats. Career stats in the Bundesliga. Okay, so we'll do it at Dortmund. We'll just do Dortmund in the Bundesliga, right? So by stats. So creativity wise. 60 goals created, actual assists, 60 goals created by Jadon Sancho, and just under 3 chances created per game. Haaland, let me get this up now. Okay, let me just get this up now. Well, I'm going to do this live on the air because we've been asked one of the most outrageous things that we've ever been asked to check. Let me do this now. So, just 14 chances created, and less than 0.6 per game by Haaland. So Sancho is creating nearly 3 more chances, like 2 and a bit more chances per game than Haaland. Of course, he's more creative. I don't understand what you're talking about. Man United need more creativity. So why would you want to buy a player that isn't creative over one that is?
Because we want to win the league, and the way you can win the league is by having players that can score goals for you.
We have got players.
If you've got no one to give the ball to the goal scorers, how are you going to win the league?
Well, we do have POGBA. We have Fernandes. We have
Fernandes is more of a goal scorer than a creator. Fernandes is how good. Look, we've got Cavani that with a full preseason is going to bang goals next year. We've got Greenwood who's going to get even more goals next year.
Okay.
Bruno is such a good goal scorer, Safe. He is 2 goals away from becoming the highest goal scoring midfielder in Premier League history for a single season. And he is just 4 goals away from breaking Manchester United's all-time record set by Sir Bobby Charlton 60-odd years ago for the highest highest goal-scoring midfielder in a single season. We have goal scorers. We lack chance creators. That's what's needed, Safe.
Okay, let me educate you here. So if Sancho came into So if Sancho came to the Premier League, yeah, and I'm gonna talk to him like a 5-year-old child who told you that his creativity is gonna match the stats that he does in Dortmund.
You're gonna talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old child.
Yes, because you don't seem to understand football facts here. Who told you that his stats is going to meet his stats is going to be in the Premier League?
That is a fair challenge, Safe. But who told you? Who told you that Haaland's goal stats are going to translate into the Premier League? It's the same argument.
No, it's not the same argument. Haaland is far better player than Sancho.
No, okay. So you've said that there's no guarantee that the assists in the Bundesliga are going to translate to the Premier League.
Yes, that's facts.
That's a fact. Then it's also a fact in this. You've actually done you've actually debated yourself out here because Haaland's goals are all in the Premier League, you pleb.
Stop doing this, but I'm trying to teach you football here. Football is all about players scoring goals. Okay, football is all about.
I've got a message for you right now, Safe.
It's time to go!
We had to move him on. Had to move him on. Like, I don't know. The guy was literally.
Hey, Terry! Yo, shut your mouth and get educated, mate. You know,
he said to me, I'm going to talk to you, educate you like you're 5 years old. Like, my word.
Oh, but that was so. Safe. Yeah, to be fair, Safe does you. He just does you some way, shape, or form every time it comes on, man. Flipping.
Yeah, the irony is he actually repeats things that I say. It actually it makes me die. With who we getting on the show next? Next up, we're gonna have the Donny fans here. Aaron's in the house. What you saying, bro?
Oh, I'm just laughing at how deluded that guy is. But no, man, it's interesting. It's a weird one because first of all, on the POGBA thing. Mate, as soon as if POGBA thinks he can get a trophy out of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer team, surely the Ole Outers are going to be in again, jumping in like a frog on a lily pad, just jumping back into the Man United train. But like KJ says, don't take away from the obvious issue, which is the Glazers. You know, let's cheer on Ollie and the players, but not the Glazers. Let's try and do it in some way or form. And you mentioned earlier about, you know, let's go extreme. Let's try and storm the pitch. Trust me, we've got experience of storming the pitch back in 1998. So if you need any advice, come and ask us. But look at the history books, and it mentions it on the last day of the season. We had to storm the pitch because of our owners, and we got rid of them in the end. So it works. It definitely works, no matter how big or small your club is. But on the Sterling thing, look, do I think he's going to go back to Liverpool? No. I think, you know, I saw the interview when, you know, even he denied it was money related when he left Man City in the first place. And, yeah, the whole agent thing was getting involved. So I think from that bridge, I think that bridge has been burnt. It's been going too fast. I think Liverpool just need to move forward rather than look back. If Sterling was to leave and Grealish come in, I think that's a really natural step because Grealish is that Sterling role. You know, he can play centre attacking midfield as well, but he's more of a winger. So, I do see him slotting into that Sterling role and expanding. But I think the only way Sterling's going to stay at Aston Villa would be through the Europa Conference League if they get into that competition. And even if they don't get in, like, you know, I do think that Grealish will stay at Aston Villa, in my opinion. So I think it's just a case of getting a replacement next season. But Terry, big up yourself, big up KJ, big up the Terrace, and we're going to hopefully relegate Rochdale today. So I've got a stream coming up in about half an hour, so stay tuned.
Thanks for letting us know, bro. Thanks for letting us know. Take care of yourself, buddy. All the best, all the best, all the best, all the best. I love this guy. I love this guy. If you want, I love him. Honestly,
I'm still in shock. I'm safe.
Safe. It's one of those people. Like, I love the geezer. I absolutely love the geezer. We had a super chat here. Love Safe's eyebrows, but not his opinions. You want that? D1 says Lampard scored 22 goals in 010 and Bruno's on 16. So Lampard, all competitions. Lampard in 2010 scored 27 goals in all in 09. Sorry, 010 scored 27 goals. Bruno Fernandes right now is on 26. So like I said, 2 more goals and he hits 28. He breaks Lampard's record for the highest goal scoring Premier League midfielder. In fairness, he's beaten it on a European level. When at Sporting Lisbon, he scored 33. He's already done that once. Like, it's crazy. And yeah, I mean, he weren't far behind. I mean, he could hit 30 goals this season, Fernandes. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends how many penalties we get in it.
Oh, yeah, it does. Listen, it's one of them ones. But he's also got 9 goals in Europe this year. He has 12 European goals for Man United in 18 games. It's ridiculous. For a midfielder, it's ridiculous.
Yo, listen, people need to just let it go. He is what he is. And when he's on form, he's one of the best attacking midfielders in the world because man will score you goals and he'll get you assists. People just think that, is he silky? No. Is he the most beautiful on the ball to watch? No. He's very, that there's sometimes where you see him hit the ball, it's so casual, he just spoons it somewhere, you know what I mean? He's very hit and miss. But when his hit percentage is 70 and his miss percentage is 30, when he's in that kind of form, you just let him do what he's doing.
No, I get that. Come back again and says Lampard didn't play in the Europa League, though. That's a fair point. But Lampard was also in a title-winning best team in England, double-winning team at that point. So Bruno's doing it in a lesser team. So it's fair. But look, the facts are the facts. Bruno is about to break his goal scoring. And I'm not saying he's better than Frank Lampard. So don't get it twisted. But he's about to break. He will break Lampard's record. There is no doubt. He'll score at least 2 more goals this season, as far as I'm concerned. Could do it against Roma. Could do it against. Imagine he does it against Liverpool. Nice brace against Liverpool this weekend. Imagine breaking the record.
Wow, we've got what? How many games in the league left?
5.
5
in the league,
and then 2 more in the Europa League. You know what I'm saying?
7 games. He needs basically 4 goals. He needs in 7 games to break Sir Bobby's record. I hope he does it because those are nice little things. Do you know what I mean? But what I get people's points. So what he needs to do for it to be, we know the modern day world we live in. He needs next season to score 30 goals in all comps and United to win the Champions League or Premier League. For people to turn around and say, I contributed to something major. And I do get that. But listen, look at the man who just got into one of the first inductees into the Hall of Fame. Yes, he did win the Premier League once, but the majority of his goals came out Newcastle, where he didn't win a single trophy, and he just got voted into the Hall of Fame as the second best Premier League player of all time in terms of the Hall of Fame. So to say that we should just disregard Bruno's goal scoring record at Man United because he hasn't won the Prem yet is just a ridiculous notion. It really, really is. He's quality, and people have got. When you see the arguments against Bruno, is always, but my favorite player is X. That's all it comes down to. It's never really Bruno's not very good. It's I need to play Bruno down because I don't want anyone to compare him to my favorite player. It's childish, really. It's child's play. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, we're back live after the Chelsea game today. We're going to be doing a combined Man United Liverpool 11 later on tonight as well. What's that?
Man City are playing right now, by the way, Terry.
No, I know I can't cover that game because I've got some family stuff to do. So I literally can't do it. I'm taking Lady Freya to her first ever football today, and then tomorrow morning, so she's starting football. So
hey, come on now, Lady Freya, come on, yo, go score a hat trick.
Yeah, and because it's I mean, with respect, it's basically a friendly today. The league's over. Even if they lose, it's like, who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's nothing on it. So yeah, that won't be happening. We'll be covering Chelsea, and then we'll be doing a combined 11 tonight. Listen, everyone who's tuned in
sideline already. Freya, I told you to play it wide. Why are you doing it? Come on. And then any foul on Freya. Ref, did you see that? She tried to kill her. Give her a red card. Send her off.
They sent a thing through to all the parents, basically saying things you can't do, and obviously shouting, scream. That's one of them. It's like we don't. And I'm actually quite good, to be fair. Like when I used to coach, whatever sports I've done things. I'm more of an encourager than I am I'm going to blast you, because I don't really. It's weird. I'm the opposite. I like being shouted and screamed at, but I don't like to support in that way. Does that make sense? It's not really my way. But there we go. That'd be fun. She loves it. She likes football. She's got a good left peg on her as well. Sorry? Where does she play? Do they have
this
stage, it's just they run around kicking the ball. There's nothing to it. It's just learning. So yeah, I bought her a little pair of boots, and yeah, they're all good. They're all good. So yeah, black ones as well, because I said to her, until you sign your first pro contract, you don't wear coloured boots. Like that's just the way it is. It's black only. Facts. Do you know what I mean? Shirt.
I like this one. Ronaldo.
I like that. She's always liked football, actually. She enjoys it. Archie's pretty good as well. Like he really can hit a ball, and I said to him, that's son, you've actually got he's 6, and I said your technique's better than mine ever. Like he can really hit a ball. And he's like, I'm gonna put it in the top corner. I'm like, what one? Left, boom, it's in the top corner. I'm like, in a 5, like a
in a goal that is
there's a 6 yard and put it in top bins. Like not with the power. But yeah, man. Sweet. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, massive thank you to all of you. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very